So, Andrew, you just launched FIFA 21, a record 3.6 million players at launch. That was Friday. Give us an update on how the game has done since launch. Where are you now?
Well, let me tell you, I think that the game is doing really well. I continue to be amazed by what our teams are able to do during this lockdown. You know, through the last 6 months, we've launched UFC, Madden, Star Wars Squadrons, 200 live updates to our live services, nearly doubled our esports programming. And now we've launched FIFA 21, and the team's done a spectacular job with the game. And as you just said, demand coming out of the gate was really, really strong and continues to be really high. We're reaching, daily active user records and engagement with the game overall. And so really proud of what the team has done and really excited to see people using games to kind of come together at this time where they're still, for the most part around the world, apart.
But any specific updates on FIFA's numbers in those first 5 days or so?
Well, I mean, you talked about the ones out of the gate, and I would tell you that, engagement is up nearly 20% year over year across the board. We're reaching daily active user records and feeling really good about where the game is going.
Tell me how much you think these trends you're seeing are a result of COVID. How much has user engagement changed over the past 6 months? And how much do you think these trends are sustainable?
Well, I think before COVID, we'd seen, two fundamental secular trends. One was that social interaction was moving from physical to digital, and two, the consumption of sport and entertainment was moving from linear to interactive. So we'd already started to see those trends. And what we've seen is COVID accelerate them. More and more people have come into our games. More and more people are using our games to connect. More and more people are using our games to enjoy the things they love, like sport, at a time, where some of those things in their traditional forms weren't available. As we look at where we're at now, again, I talk about how many games have launched and the lift that we've had. We've had tens of millions of people kind of come into our network during COVID, that adds to the hundreds of millions of people that we already had. And we're seeing them engage deeply in the new games that we're playing, even as parts of the world are kind of moving past COVID right now. So our expectation is that this growth that we've seen wasn't unnatural, but really just an acceleration of a trend that we'd already started to see pre-COVID. And we're excited by what we're going to be able to do for players, as we move through this.
But Andrew, as you look at this granular data from countries around the world in the markets where things are starting to open up, as people start to have live sports to watch, and as people can leave the house more to go out to restaurants and do other things, are you seeing that engagement drop? Or is this a permanent addition of new users, or is this more of a fluctuation due to the fact that people were stuck at home?
I think it's still early for us to tell, because we are in this very acute phase of the transition from a kind of a total and complete lockdown to kind of a varied lockdown rate in different parts of the world. But again, I would point to what's happened with our games. The last season of Apex Legends was the biggest season since launch. Madden last year had a record year. The biggest year ever in the Madden franchise was last year's Madden, and we're up 20% year over year this year. FIFA last year was a record FIFA, and we're up, across the board in engagement in that game. UFC that we launched, even as the UFC was, back holding events both in Vegas and Fight Island, they were doing a great job of delivering sports to fans. We saw our UFC game respond significantly better than the last game, and both unit sales and engagement up versus where we were in the last game. So our anticipation now is that what's happened is that games, even more becoming a central point of people's digital lives. They become a central point of how they connect with their friends, and they're becoming a central point of how they consume sports more broadly. And that, we believe, will continue to grow even as sports come back online.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.